As a kid, November just felt bleak and miserable, like this nothing month. As in an adult, pardon me, and as an adult, it often feels pretty much the same until one day something happens and all of a sudden there's hope on the horizon. And that, my friends, are those first signs that Christmas is coming. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today because that's exactly where we are. Today, it's the warm up to Christmas. Let's go. Now, back in the day, the early signs that Christmas was coming, I feel like they came a lot later. Like you would not see them until late November, sometimes even early December. But nowadays, it's so much different. Like nowadays, you go into a store and you can be shopping for Halloween decorations, and they are literally right next to like Christmas trees and Christmas decorations and holiday wreaths. It's really weird. It's I once knew this girl. She worked at Winners, and she called this season Hallowismas because it was this combination of Halloween and Christmas, and it was really weird. Like I really think that there should be a law that says you cannot have two holiday displays next to each other. It's one or the other. You don't get a pumpkin next to a Christmas tree. It's just weird, all right? And I think when we were younger, it was much more segregated. It was much more separate. And we liked it that way. Call me old fashioned, but I think seeing a Christmas tree in October is a little bit early. Ideally, Christmas waits until after Halloween. And do you remember when you were a kid, like when you would be sitting in the middle of those November months and all of a sudden you would see that first sign, like maybe it was when you went to the mall with your parents and there was a Christmas wreath up somewhere, or some store had put out their Christmas display, or they had some lights on in the store. That was amazing. That was the sign that there actually was hope in November, that it wasn't just this bleak, dark, depressing month that nobody likes. What it actually was, it was like the placeholder until the absolute most magical and best time of the year. And as soon as you saw that first sign that Christmas was coming, boom, your world changed. You went from like, life sucks, to just thinking like, oh my gosh, it's time. It's time. I got to start getting ready. I got to make that list. I got to start being good because I know I'm being watched now. Um, like as an adult, we know that the our phones are listening to us and spying on us, and the NSA is spying on us and collecting information. That's unsettling. Back then, it was Santa. But I think that funny difference is that, like, as an adult, any adult in critical thinking, and you don't really have to be a critical thinker anymore to know that your phone is listening to you and basically spying on you. We're kind of like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. It's fine. What are they going to do anyway? What are they going to do? But as a kid, when you thought about the fact that Santa might be watching, you're like, oh my God, I better be on my best behavior. It's totally different. It's totally different. As adults, we don't care. We're like, yeah, whatever. Go ahead, check my search history. See those comments I made on Facebook. It's not a big deal. But as a kid, you're like, I got to be nice to my siblings. I got to be really, really good. I got to do my chores. I got to do my homework because Santa's watching. And there's going to be a serious price to pay if I'm not good. It was right around this time of year that it started kicking in. And your relatives would tell you, they'd be like, Santa's watching. You're like, oh, yeah, right. He is. I forgot about that. Okay. Oh, God, I hate this time of year. It's kind of funny because it was like, what was November and December? It was like this amazing, stressful time because you were excited, but it was also high stress because you're like, well, I've got to be good. I don't know if I've been good enough. I got like 4 or 5 weeks to really, really turn this on and put in a good effort. Now, the first sign that Christmas was coming was usually when you went to a store and you saw the lights or the wreaths or the holiday displays. But there was nothing more exciting than when Christmas actually arrived at your doorstep. And that was like when you got the Sears catalog or the Toys R Us wish book or whatever it was called. No, it was a Sears wish book. Jesus, I can't speak English today. Let's try that again. You got like the Sears wish book or the Toys R Us Christmas catalog, or what else was there? I don't know. The Canadian Tire gift guide. Not the most exciting one, but still an unmistakable sign that Christmas was on its way. Now, that was such an amazing time because as soon as you got that holiday like wish book or that toy catalog or whatever, it was amazing. You would take that thing and you would just like rifle through those pages, and if you had siblings, all your siblings would be gathered around it and actually maybe getting along for the first time in a long time because everyone was so excited. And you knew, you're like, well, we got to share this. We can't start fighting right now because Santa's watching, and we're going to be good. We are going to be good. We're going to get along. We're going to share the wish book. And that was such a cool time. It was really, really awesome to bond with your friends and your siblings around that time, because you would pour over that catalog and you would see, we didn't have the internet back then, right? So this was your first experience or your first opportunity to actually see, like, what new toys are they making? What new toys are coming out? What can I get? This is really, really cool. Like, it was not where you could just go online and search for stuff. Like, we were way more surprised back then, and it made it so exciting. Now, every red blooded American male knows that as exciting as the Christmas toys were, there was one thing around this time that was potentially even more enticing, and that was the bra ads in the Sears catalog. All right. Not only did we love that catalog for the toys it promised us, but oh my gosh, we got to see almost naked ladies. And that was maybe even more exciting than Christmas presents, at least on par. I remember, like, I used to like flip through that thing. It's like, okay, it's toys. Yeah, that's cool, toys. Yeah, okay, let's go to the bra ads. I've seen enough Lego. It's time for some, it's time for some other stuff. And the best thing about the Sears catalog was you could sit there in the living room and be totally like inconspicuous as to what you were doing. You're like, what are you doing over there? Well, just looking at the toys. Just looking at the toys. And then your mom would be like, all right, well, I need you to come set the table. And you're like, yeah, okay, just give me a minute here. This Lego got me really excited. Just, mm. Hopefully that didn't happen to you. It might have. I don't know. I'm not judging. Hey, we had less access to nudity back then as well. So, we weren't as desensitized as we are today. Now, besides the decorations in the stores and the Christmas catalogs coming to your house, another major sign that Christmas was just around the corner was when people started putting lights up in your neighborhood. And it might have started something small. Maybe somebody put a wreath on their door. Maybe somebody put a little holly out for a display inside their house. Like, you went to your friend's house and their parents had put out like a few holly branches or something like that, or a little wreath display. That was so exciting. And I remember, like, as soon as one neighbor started putting stuff up, everybody else did. But you were always waiting for like that first guy to go put something up. Like, who's going to be the guy to break the ice this year? And I say guy because, like, usually it was the guys outside doing the decorating and stuff. I know some women did it too, but really when we were growing up, it was kind of like all the men did that stuff, right? And it was this unspoken competition, right? And I know for a fact there was a competition because my dad, he put the lights up at our house, and he would always like point out the other neighbors' displays and be like, oh yeah, I don't think so. He'd like size them up. Like, and if another neighbor put up something good, my dad is like, well, I'm going to Canadian Tire. I'll be back $200 later. Come back with a bunch of lights. My mom's, did you buy a bunch of lights? No, 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 no. These were in the shed. I just pulled them out from storage. It was a big thing. Christmas light competitions in neighborhoods, those were a big thing back in the day. But it was so exciting watching the neighborhood come to life, right? So it really transitioned you out of that dark, gray, cold November, and then people started putting lights up and stuff, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, like, it's really elevating people's mood and it's giving people a little bit of hope and happiness. And you know what I noticed this year? It is currently November 14th, 2025. It has been a very rough 5 years. Let's just put it that way. I don't think it would be pretty hard to argue that the world didn't considerably change in 2020. And it really hasn't been the same since. And what I've really noticed this year that I really love is that what I'm seeing is people are putting up their Christmas lights already. And I think it's been such a horrible time and such a crazy time, especially this year. Things are weird. And I think people are just looking for that comfort. They're searching for that comfort. They're creating comfort. I know in my house, I've already started putting stuff up because you know what? I want to feel that comfort. I want to feel that happiness and that joy. And it's amazing how just putting up a few Christmas decorations can absolutely bring you that sense of comfort and joy. And it's nice to see people doing it because what does that tell me? It tells me that even though things are hard right now, people still have hope in their hearts, right? And I think that's a really nice thing to see right now. Now, we've talked about decorations. We've talked about Christmas catalogs showing up. We've talked about people putting up lights. I think the most exciting sign that Christmas was coming, and the one that you got the most involved in, was when someone asked you for your Christmas list. That was like the official confirmation that, without a doubt, Christmas was coming. It was inevitable. And now the wheels were in motion to actually bring you the gifts you wanted. I remember having sleepovers with my best friend and my brothers, and we would stay up late and we would pour through those toy catalogs, and yeah, the Sears bra ads, but also mainly the toy catalogs. And we would make up our wish lists, and we always had to operate within a budget, right? Because back then, you really only had two opportunities a year to get stuff, and that was usually Christmas and your birthday, or maybe a really good report card. But for the most part, you had two times a year to actually get some stuff you wanted. And unless you were like spoiled rich or from a super wealthy family that didn't care, you always had to operate within a budget. And so you would like make that ultimate list, and then you'd have to go and double check and be like, nah, I don't know if this one's gonna make the final cut. And you would like compare it with your friends and your brothers, and that was so exciting. And you would spend days and weeks doing that, and you would pour over the things in the catalog, what you really wanted, what was gonna bring you the greatest joy. And it was so much fun to do that. But I remember when I was a kid, my grandpa used to put a lot of pressure on us because he wanted those lists by November 15th. He's like, I need that list. It's November 15th. I need the list. I want to make sure you get what you want. He was like the FedEx. If FedEx was a person, he was like the FedEx of Christmas because he always delivered on time and he always made sure you got what you wanted. I'm sure some people have had bad experiences with FedEx, but it's the closest metaphor I can make. Maybe he was like the Amazon. If Amazon was a person, my grandpa was Amazon because he delivered on time and he was always fulfilling those promises. I remember one time, I think I was in like, I don't know what grade I was in, maybe grade 3 or grade 4. I wanted uh I wanted the Shredder, the Ninja Turtles figure. I wanted Shredder. And I put Shredder on my Christmas list, and this is probably like late November. I remember my grandpa phoned me one day from the mall, and he goes, "Hi Adam, it's your grandpa." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." And he goes, "Listen, I'm at the Toys and Wheels, and I've looked for the Shredder, and they don't have them. Will you take a Michelangelo instead?" Like, what am I gonna say, No, Grandpa, you freaking put that Michelangelo back, and you go search all over town. You get me that Shredder. Like, what am I gonna say? Like, of course I'll take the Michelangelo, Grandpa. But it was just hilarious. I love it. Like, he actually called me, like, to verify. There would be no surprises on Christmas morning, but that's how my grandparents worked. We didn't do surprises. We had lists. People stuck to the list, and everyone was happy. There was nothing worse than making a list and people not following it. What's the point? So I always remember that about my grandpa. He was so insistent on getting us those things we wanted and satisfying those lists, and that was just awesome. Now, it's still early November. Well, I guess by the time this episode publishes, it's actually going to be like close to the end of November, which is crazy. It's going to be November 21st. So you know what? We're actually only like a week and a bit away from December starting, which is crazy. Um, I don't want to get too much further into Christmas stuff and holiday stuff because really, I just want to do this as like, just want to do a little warm up episode, right? To remind people that, hey, we're almost there. November's almost over. This bleak stuff that we're going through right now, we're almost at the end of it. And pretty soon we're going to see a little happiness and joy and festivities and lights. It's all on the horizon. And I sometimes think about this like, November can be a metaphor for life because there's seasons, November is part of a season. It's the very end of fall, and it's bleak and it's miserable and it's cold and it gets dark early, and really nobody's happy, unless you live in like a tropical place or something like that. But man, if you're in North America in most places or the Western world, like November it's pretty miserable. And sometimes that's what a season of your life is like, and it just feels like it's never going to end. But you know what? Just like that hard season of your life, that dark moment, that dark night of the soul you're going through, that never lasts forever. And eventually, probably sooner than you might think, you're going to start to see some lights on the horizon. So if you're having a hard time right now, if there's something going on that you're coping with and you feel like it's never going to end, just remember, it's only a season, it's only a chapter, and nothing is going to last forever. Eventually, this season will come to an end, and something on the horizon is going to shine brightly again, just like it did when we were kids. And hey, if you're really struggling to feel better, well, you just wait till that Sears catalog arrives on your doorstep, and you know exactly what to do.